What's up, everybody? What's up? Change Man for Life. We are live. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Happy Inauguration Day to those that follow politics. What's going on, everybody? Let's see who taps in. Let's see if anybody taps in. 0 viewers right now. I got to figure out a way to schedule my lives and then put a notification that there's going to be a live. That way everybody be ready and can jump in and tap in. I see I got 1 viewer. What's going on out there, viewer? Thank you for tapping in. I appreciate you. Let's see if we get anybody else in here. How's the audio sounding? If you don't mind dropping a little comment. How's the audio sound? I'm working with a new mic. I don't know if it's sounding better than the headset I was using previously. Hope so. Invested a little bit of money in this microphone, not a whole lot, but hoping that it was worth the investment. Hopefully some more folks tap in. I know there's probably some other lives going. Some of the bigger channels probably got lives going on, so everybody's probably busy over there. Not sure that anybody's going to come check me out tonight, but it's all good. This is practice for me. This is helping me upload content. This is helping me figure out what works and what doesn't. So let's see. We'll hang around for a little bit. Okay. 2 viewers. Thank you. Thank you both for tapping in. Appreciate you. As I mentioned earlier, I'm working with a new mic, so I hope the audio is good. I hope y'all can even hear me. Can y'all leave a comment or give a thumbs up or something? Let me know if you can even hear me. And if so, how's the sound? Is it cool? Do I need to turn the mic up? Do I need to turn it down? Do I need to get a little closer to it? Do I need to back up? Y'all let me know something. We up in here on January 20th, live for the Martin Luther King Day. Change Man for Life, live for Inauguration Day. Let's see if we can get anybody tapping in. 3 viewers. What's up? What's up? If y'all feel like tapping in, hit me with a comment, hit me with a thumbs up, a like, something. Let me know y'all there. What's up, bro? What's up, Jonathan? Okay, bro. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Pop, what's up? Pop Utico, how's everything? Hope you're blessed as well, you and the fam. Good to see you tapping in. Thank you, Jonathan, for tapping in. Hope it sounds good. Hope the mic is clear, crisp. Hope y'all coming across. Oh, we got a special guest in the house. I see my mom logged on there. Hi, Mom. We made it, Mama. Started at the bottom. Now we here. How's the sound? Tapping in, tapping in. Y'all jump on with me. Let me know. Looks like 0 viewers. Dang, even my mom bailed out on me. That's crazy. Even my mom bailed out. 0 viewers. Oh, now I got 1. I got 1. Okay, there's my mama. Hi, Mom. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know that the sound is good. Let's see if anybody else jumps on. See if anybody else comes in the live. See what's going on. Love you, Mama. Thank you for checking out the video. Hope everything's good over there at the house. It's super windy over here. I hurt my back today. I'm in a lot of pain right now, but I'll get through it. Let's see if anybody else coming on. Doesn't look like anybody else is coming on. Wait a couple of more minutes. See who we get. Probably a lot going on. It's a little bit early in the evening. I guess nobody gonna mess with me tonight. That's okay. You don't even know, bro. You got me pumped up, Jonathan. Talking about my stomach yesterday. I decided to work out today. I messed around and I was doing cool. I jumped a little bit of rope. I did some push-ups. I did some pull-ups. Did a little bit of incline press. And I got on the squat rack. And, nothing major because I ain't worked out in a long time. So, I know enough to go slow. Start off slow and go light. I went real light and I went real slow. And I made it through one set. And then I did my second set. And on my third set, I went down and just felt my back go out. And by the grace of God, I was even able to get up. I was just like, Jesus, help me get up because I can't. I was in my garage. I'm the only one home. My phone was nowhere near me. I didn't want to be on the ground, laid out, hurt. So I was like, Jesus, help me get up. And I was able to pull myself up, rack the bar, and slowly and carefully walk inside the house. This was a couple hours ago. I was able to tenderly make my way to the shower. Yeah, for real. That's exactly how it was too, bro. I'm down and I can't get up. Yeah, just like that, bro. I was about to be like that. That's what happens when you get my age. About to be 55. I need one of them little buttons for when I go down. So now I'm going to be out of commission for a few days. While my back gets better. Probably not going to be able to go to work for a couple of days, or I'm going to have to work from home at least. So that can't be taking too many days off. I need to get that paycheck, Come on, bro. Young buck. I was a young buck 30 years ago. You know what I mean? I'm an old man now, but by the grace of God, I'm still here. By the grace of God, I made it. I didn't think I was going to make it past my 20s. And then I went to prison and really didn't think I was going to make it to my 50s. Figured I would probably die in there. By the grace of God, not only did I not die in there, but I'm home. I'm alive. I'm blessed. I've been home it'll be 10 years in June. So I'm blessed. Overall, I'm blessed. These little aches and pains on the side don't really mean nothing. I can deal with that. I'm just blessed to be home. Right? For real, Jonathan. My brother says, man, I know that feeling, but God saved us. For real, bro. God saved us. It's only by his grace and mercy that we're still here. Only by his grace and mercy that we're still here, bro. Just tightening up too. I have to get one of those little pads, put a little heating pad on my back or something when I go to bed tonight. Hopefully I'll be able to get up in the morning and shower and get to work. If not, I'm going to be stuck at the house. So what's going on? Let's talk inauguration. Anybody have any thoughts? What are your thoughts? We have a new president officially, first day of a new president. And personally, I'm not necessarily a fan of Donald Trump, but as a Christian, I know my duty is to pray for him. He is our president, and I accept that. I acknowledge that. And my duty now is to pray for him. As a man of God, I want to see him succeed, because if he succeeds, that means that our country succeeds. Regardless of what your feelings about him personally are, regardless of what your politics are, regardless of what you might think about the man himself, he is the president. He is the commander in chief, and his decisions and his actions will affect all of us. So as men and women of God, those of you that are people of faith, whether you are Republican or Democrat or whatever it may be, you have to, do what the Bible instructs us to do and pray for those in authority. I just hope that he makes godly decisions. Hope that he seeks God in making his decisions. Hope that he is different than he was last time. Let's say that. Let's hope that this term is different than his previous term. Let's hope that he really seeks God and gets a hold of God and guides our country in a godly fashion. You know what I mean? That's what we got to do. Is just pray for the man, regardless if you like him or not, regardless of if you wanted him or if you wanted Miss Harris. He's the one there now. So we as a country need to come together as people, come together and rally behind who we have as our president, like it or not, and pray for him. Pray for our country. Pray for our country, because if you're a believer and if you're a Bible reading person, you know the kind of things that are coming. And the only way that we can get through all that is pray. Pray, 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 pray for our president, pray for his staff, pray for our military, pray for our local governments. You know, prayer can change things. And that's what we really need to do. That's what we really need to do is pray. Today is also Martin Luther King Day, man. So we're not going to talk politics too much. Martin Luther King lived a life that is definitely worth acknowledging. You know what I mean? I can't even imagine. You know, I was born in 1970. So I was a baby in the 70s, a teenager in the 80s, an adult in the 90s. So the stuff that took place in the 60s and even in, earlier in the 50s, I can't even imagine what that was like. And to have to go through the things that people went through and to have to fight for just basic human rights. You know what I mean? Dr. King is to be admired. His legacy is to be celebrated. There's a lot of things that changed because of his sacrifice and the sacrifice of those that stood with him. So I don't want to diminish what today, is celebrating. It just so happens that the inauguration took place on the same day, but I don't want to diminish, Dr. King's day either. He definitely is deserving of that. If you all follow along with my channel, you know that I was a guest on Dub's channel. If you all follow Dubs, you probably see me on there. I don't know if any of you know who Dubs is or follow Dubs, but that was cool being interviewed on his channel. Something we had talked about doing for quite a while. And if you're new to my channel, if you're checking this out, I know the two people that are viewing now already know me and my story. But when I post this, and if you check it out later and you're new to my channel and you don't really know my story, I'm an ex-gang member. I'm an ex-drug addict. In 1991, I committed a gang-related murder, and I went to prison with a sentence of 30 years to life. I did 24 years. The first 20, living in that same lifestyle, gang member, doing drugs, doing the things that people in prison do. And after being in prison for 20 years, I surrendered my life to the Lord and became a Christian. Did my last 4 years in prison as a Christian and came home in 2015. So I'm an ex-lifer. It's only by the grace of God that I'm even out here in society. I was never supposed to come home, but God had mercy on me, and here I sit. And so some other podcasters and other YouTube channels that have similar stories have, asked me to come on. And Dubs is also an ex-lifer. He did 24 years as well. So I went on his channel a couple of weeks ago, did an interview that was pretty cool. Shout out to all those subscribers that came from that interview. I got over like 100 new subscribers within a couple of days of that interview, and I know 90% of them were referred over from Dubs. So I appreciate that. Shout out to Dubs. Shout out to his subscribers that checked out the interview. Shout out to his subscribers that took the time to subscribe to my channel and that have been viewing. I appreciate it. That's one of the newer things that's been happening with me and my channel. I also I'm starting to do interviews now. I've done a couple of them. I have 2 series going. One is called From the Pit to the Palace, Stories of Redemption. And what that's about is people that come from that street life, people that maybe went to prison, or people that were drug addicts, or people that were involved in criminality or people that were just, living grimy in the streets and surrendered their life to God and are now doing good. That's one interview series that I'm doing. Again, that series is called From the Pit to the Palace. I've done one episode so far with a brother named Hamid. So you could check that out. And I just started another series called Lifer Talk. And the whole trip about Lifer Talk is I will be interviewing ex-lifers. I'll be interviewing ex-lifers that are out now, just about, their story, what got them into prison, what was life like in prison doing a life sentence, what has life been like for them since they've been out. I've done one chapter of that series as well. I actually interviewed my former cellmate. His name is Chito. So if you guys haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out. It's called Lifer Talk. You'll see it right there in my video list. Let me get to Jonathan's question right here. What was your first thought when they told you you're going home? So there's really two parts to that, right? There was the part in the board hearing where the board told me they were finding me suitable and recommending to the governor that I get released. And then there was the part a few months later when I actually heard back from the governor and he said that, in fact, I was going to be released. So the first part, when I was in the board hearing and the board told me, we're finding you, we don't think you're a threat to society anymore. We're going to recommend to the governor that you go home. The first words out of my mouth were, "Thank you, Jesus." All I could do was just lower my head and start crying and just praising God. Just, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus." That's all I could say. I was so just overwhelmed with emotion. I never thought I was going home. I had been down for 24 years. And to hear them say that, you know what I mean? To hear these people say that they feel I'm rehabilitated, that I'm no longer a threat to society, and they were going to recommend I be released was just a tidal wave of emotion, bro. But that was just, for the moment, because in my head, I already knew that just because they said they were recommending that I go home doesn't mean that's what was going to happen. They still had to send their recommendation to the governor. And the governor very well could have said no. You know what I mean? He could have overturned their decision. And that's a 5-month waiting process. So those 5 months were stressful in a mug, I tried my best to just, give it to God, just put it in God's hands and go with it. But I'm human, you know what I mean? I'm human and I have emotions and worries and concerns. And so, yeah, it was a stressful journey. And when they called me to the office the day to let me know that I, in fact, was going to go home, that whole thing is a trip. They called me to the office and they were like, because I had a job, right? I had a job in the prison. I was the clerk for the college program. So the counselor called me into the office and he's like, "Hey, you're the college clerk, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he says, "I'm going to have to take your job from you." So now I'm tripping like, "What you mean?" You know what I mean? It's a good job. I like it. I do good at my job. Why am I taking my job from me? He said, "Because you're going home next week." Oh my God. Same thing like in the boardroom, bro. I just fell to my knees, started praising God, started crying. The people that were there in the office were like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I couldn't even talk. I was like, "Yeah, yeah." It was crazy. But I, got my composure. He had me fill out some papers and stuff. And from the office, I ran straight to the chapel. And I ran into the chapel, and some of the brothers were in there, and they see me crying, and they could tell something's up, and they're like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I couldn't even talk. I'm just like, They're like, "What's wrong, fool? What happened? I'm going home." And they just started hugging me, and it was crazy. It was a trip. You know what I mean? I ran to the altar, threw myself on the altar, and started praising God. Was just thankful. Was just super thankful. Then from there, once I got my composure and stopped crying and got up from the altar, hugged all the brothers. You know what I mean? All the brothers congratulated me, gave me a hug. Then it was like, okay, I got to go call my mom now. So I went back to the building, jumped on the phone, called my mom, and my mom answers. And she's like, "Hey, Mijo, how are you?" I'm like, "I'm good, Mom. What are you doing next Wednesday?" And she's like, "Working, Mom. What's up?" I was like, "So I need a ride home." And all I heard was the phone drop. I'm like, Mom, are you okay? She got back on the phone and she's crying. And she's like, you better not be playing with me. I'm not playing, Mom. It's not a joke. I'm coming home. I need you to come get me next Wednesday. So that next Wednesday came and my family came and picked me up. My mom came and picked me up. My mom, my brother, and my niece Amanda. And my brother and my mom came and picked me up. And they were right there waiting for me at Chuckawalla. Made that long drive home. That was a whole nother adventure. Going to eat, having a knife in my silverware packet, and panicking, getting anxiety. I thought they were trying to set me up. That was crazy. And then the drive home was like hours, bro. Hours. And the car ends up breaking down. I want to say like 20 minutes from our house or something like that. So we had to get towed. But that's just a whole adventure. Was I scared of coming out after all that time? And were you tripping about the call of God and what people thought? I wouldn't say I was scared of coming out. I was nervous. Absolutely. I was nervous. I had anxiety. I'd been gone for 2.5 decades. So the world was a different place, I didn't know what to expect. When I got picked up, my family picked me up from Chuckawalla. We went to eat at Denny's. For those that don't know, Chuckawalla is down there in the city of Blythe, down there by Indio, Palm Springs, all that. So we went to eat. We went from there. We went to the outlets I think they're in Indio or Coachella, something right there, to go clothes shopping. And that was a trip. My first time like in a mall, you know what I mean? In 2.5 decades. So that was crazy. Everybody was looking down at their phones and I'm getting mad because people are walking straight at me and not saying excuse me or nothing. And they're looking at me crazy like I'm in their way. So that was an adventure in itself, and shopped for some clothes and got home and all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't scared, but just nervous, not knowing what's going on out here, not knowing how to use a phone, not knowing how to email, all that kind of stuff. As far as the call of God on my life and what people thought, I wasn't tripping on that. Out here, that's the least of my concerns. That was my concern when I first became a Christian in prison. You know what I mean? Wondering what was going to happen because, if you've ever done time or about doing time, that transition doesn't go well for everybody. People leave that lifestyle and become a Christian. Sometimes people get offended by that. It really all depends on you. You know what I mean? On if you're real about it, and if you have enough credibility with people that they accept that, okay, that you're going to make this move and be legit about it. And I had wrote to people out here already. When I made that conversion, I had let the homies out here know. I wrote to, cats from my generation of the neighborhood I was from, let them know, hey, this is the move I'm making. There was some younger homies from my neighborhood that were there on the yard too. I let them know what was up. And nobody had a problem with it. You know what I mean? Everybody was happy for me, congratulated me, let me know, hey, be real to it. And I stayed on that walk. So I wasn't tripping about coming home and worrying about anybody out here tripping on the fact that I had become a Christian. I just wanted to find me a good church, and it's crazy. It's a crazy little story. Like a couple of days before I was about to come home, of course, I'm functioning with the Christian brothers in there. We went to service a few days before I was coming home, and they asked me to get up and speak. So I got up and spoke and said my goodbyes and all that kind of stuff. And then a couple of days before I was about to come home, one of the brothers pulled me to the side. And I knew him before I became a Christian. I knew him at a whole different prison. He knew me when I was still in my madness. And he was like, hey, bro, look, when you get out, he goes, you need to find a good church. You need to find a good Bible teaching church to get plugged into. Don't be out there messing around. Get plugged into a church right away. First thing this cat tells me, he says, whatever you do, don't go to Victory Outreach. And at the time, I didn't know nothing about the ministry. So I'm like, why, what's up? And he's like, oh, because there are a bunch of cholos. They still carry themselves like gang members. And because, you were in that life, it might be easy for you to relapse and end up back in the streets. And so I just thought that was funny, I ended up going exactly to Victory Outreach. I've been there for 10 years now and never had any kind of issues like what he was talking about. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I see you, Jonathan. I see you hit it. Yeah, so that's what that was, man. Coming home was a trip, and I still remember everything vividly, like the sounds and smells and how the air tasted, and it's just crazy. Something like that. I don't want to say it was traumatic because it was a good thing, but it was such a powerful event in my life that I remember every little thing about it. Um, so that I'll never forget. It's probably like I'll never forget my CDC number, just like I'll never forget what it felt like to get sentenced to life in prison. I'll never forget what it was like the very first day I got to prison when I hit the reception center. Those kind of things just stick with you, you know? Those kind of things don't ever go anywhere. They might get buried, they might get glossed over, but they're always there and they come up easy. But yeah, bro, that was a trip. Being home is a trip. Been home 10 years and it's still a trip. 5 of those 10 years, I still wore my shower shoes. I could not get out of the habit of wearing my shower shoes for the first 5 years. I still eat soups, still make spreads, still have cleaning habits like I'm in prison. I want everything clean and orderly, and some of those things just don't go nowhere. They stick with you, you know? What's going on out there, y'all? I see there's 5 people tapped in. Tap in, let me know who's out there. How's everybody doing tonight on a Monday evening? Hope everybody had a blessed day. Getting ready to go back to work tomorrow or school for some of you. Oh, damn, I jumped out that fast. I went from 5 to 3 in the blink of an eye. That's crazy. I think this is probably like my 4th live, I think like my 4th one. And the most viewers I ever had at one time was 6. That's crazy. God will grow it. Let me drop this question in there real quick. Do I think the culture has changed, not just as technology, but also how people conduct themselves and act out here? Oh my God, bro, that was my biggest issue when I came home. Disrespect was the thing that I had the most problem with dealing with. Just because, when I was a youngster and I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, our parents taught us respect. You respected your neighbors. You respected your teachers. You respected anybody that was like any adult. You just respected adults, period. Whether they were in a position of authority or not. Just the fact they were an adult, you were taught to respect them, right? And then on top of that, being in prison 2.5 decades, prison is all about respect. The whole prison experience is based on respect. Disrespect causes people to lose their life sometimes, sets off riots, causes people to catch life sentences in there. Disrespect is a big thing. So when I got out, that's what I noticed most is that people were just disrespectful. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I hear people talking crazy to older people and to women, it's just all bad. Let me drop this comment in here real quick. I see my mama. My mama in there. My mama got something to say. Mom knows best. Always knew you would come home. God told me so. Thank you, Mama. I love you. Yeah, and I didn't listen to her either. I did not believe it. But, to be fair to myself, you kind of have to have that mindset to survive in there. I couldn't have been every day thinking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna go home someday. Yeah, someday I'm gonna go home. I would have went insane. I probably would have become a victim because I would have been looked at as being soft. I would have been looked at as weakness. And one thing, even though Mama, you'd always told me I was coming home, you didn't raise no weak man. So I wasn't gonna be in there and be weak and get taken advantage of, and I wasn't gonna go down like that. So I had, for my own good, I had to set my own mind to the reality that I'm probably never coming home and just live like that. But thank you, Mama, for never giving up. Thank you, Mom, for never losing hope, for keeping your faith. And here I am, 10 years later, still here. God is good. Appreciate you, Mom. Love you. On that note, what you think about how younger folks talking to older folks now, how they sag their pants and wear certain colors and clothes back in the days? You want man, for real. I trip out, Jonathan, on how youngsters dress these days. Like, so in the 80s, In the 80s, when I was doing my thing, we were not wearing no bright fluorescent colors, and it's just crazy when I see kids nowadays. But it's funny because saying that makes me think back to how, when I was in my Dickie cutoff shorts and my hairnet, and my mom would be like, "What the heck is that? You ain't going out of my house like that." Every generation thinks that their kids dress crazy, or that the young people of their age dress crazy. So I know, the way I used to dress, with baggy pants and oversized clothes, you know what I mean? And then my little hairnet, my little cutoff dickies, and my long socks, and my Nike Cortez. To older people, that looked crazy. Now the way these young people dress, to me, looks crazy. So that's just a sign of getting old, bro. But the disrespecting, the younger people talking crazy to older people, that's just foul. That's just foul. And they not only talk crazy to older people, but they talk crazy to people that are in, positions of authority, positions that should be respected. And they still talk crazy to them. You know what I mean? Well, we're going on 30 minutes. We got 3 viewers in the house, it says. Thank you for tapping in. Thank you all for rocking with me for a little bit. Hopefully this continues to grow. Hopefully more people will start tuning into the lives. I really think that I need to figure out how to put like a notification ahead of time, how to schedule it. That's what I'm looking for. I need to learn how to schedule live so that people will know. Then again, I also got to see who else happens to be live at this time, because if Dubs is live, Gunner, I was going to say American Cholo, but he ain't doing his stuff no more. There's a bunch of different channels that if they're live right now, that's where everybody's going. So I got to know my place on the ladder. I'm a small fish in a big pond. So I know everybody's probably checking out other channels right now, but it's cool. I appreciate those of you. Hey, what's up, dog? Let me check dog out real quick. Let me hit Jonathan's comment too. Yeah, Jonathan, that's your era too. You know what's up. You know how we were raised and how things were back in the 80s and 90s. What's up, dog? Salute, bro. No, don't even trip. It's all good. I enjoyed your story on the pod. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that very much. I hope you keep tuning in. I hope you check out some of the videos. I hope you'll come and check the lives. I don't do lives very often. I need to start doing them more often, so that, that aspect of the channel can grow. People can get familiar with me and learn about my channel and hear my story. Maybe start bringing people onto the lives as well. Some of the other lifers that I still function with that are out here doing good. But yeah, bro, thank you. I appreciate you tapping in. It's a dope little dog in your picture too. Yeah, so I'm here. TikTok. I started my TikTok journey. I'm on TikTok now. Posted a few little things. It's crazy because I had been on TikTok for about 2 weeks, and then it was gone. They were talking about the ban. I was like, man, I barely get on here, and they ain't letting me on no more. But it's backing up now. I don't know if we got some TikTokers out there watching. But y'all can check me out over there on TikTok. It's just like my Instagram, but where there's an underscore, it's a period for my TikTok. Changed period man period the number 4 period life. Changed man for life with a period in between each word. That's my TikTok. If y'all want to go check me out. Haven't posted a lot on there. I'm still learning how to use TikTok and how to mess with it. I messed around and decided to pop lock on there one day, but I'm old, so I was all slow and my hits were not as hard as they should be, and my tut hands were not, what they should be. But I got a little video on there on pop locking a little bit. Shared a couple little segments from some of my YouTube videos on there. I actually did a little jump rope video today. No, it's actually on, dog. at least for some people, I guess. I don't know if everybody's is not working, but mine's working. I uploaded a video on there today. I've been watching people's videos on there today. So it's up. It's up and going. I know they said that there's going to be some features we're not going to be back right away. I think it's going to take time for some of the features to come back, if they come back at all. I think they might be kind of limiting what in the United States, what aspects of it we can use and stuff. I'm not too hip to it because I wasn't on TikTok previously. I didn't follow along with the whole TikTok ban and why the government wanted to ban it. I know that China owns TikTok. I know it's a Chinese thing, and there's probably some kind of espionage concerns or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about why they decided to ban it, why it was going to be illegal, nothing like that. So I can't really give too much info other than to say that I know it's back on. I was messing with it earlier today and I was able to post a video and it's back on. So if you are on TikTok, go check it out. You should be back up and running. And for all y'all TikTokers out there, you back up and running. And hopefully I can grow that platform. I don't want to really start trying to venture out too much into other things. I really want to grow this YouTube channel. I really want to grow this YouTube platform. And that's really where my main focus is at as far as my what I want to do, you know what I mean? Where my focus is at. Y'all gotta see this. Por los chismosos. Come on, mom. Leave them people on TikTok alone. They're doing their thing. Yeah, so there's that going on the TikTok. We had the inauguration today. We celebrated Martin Luther King's legacy today. I threw my back out today. Today just been crazy. It's been a crazy day. I have my next guest lined up for my Lifer Talk series. I'm going to interview a female ex-lifer. You know what I mean? So that's going to be cool because a lot of times we don't realize, it doesn't come to our mind that there's women that do life sentences too. It wasn't until I when I got out in 2015, they have a lifer picnic every year. They have an annual lifer picnic. So when I got out, I started going every year to the lifer picnics. And it wasn't until like my second or third lifer picnic that I realized that some of the women there were not people's girlfriends. They were lifers that got out too. So it just, it really doesn't occur to us that, oh, dang, women do life sentences too. So my next guest on there on Lifer Talk is going to be a female lifer. Her story is really cool. I actually know her from back in the childhood days, a friend of mine from back in the 80s. So that's going to be a cool interview. That's going to be really cool. So y'all check in for that. Crown City SGV, what's up? Thank you for tapping in. I grew up in Palmdale, bro. I grew up on the east side of Palmdale, out here in the Antelope Valley, born and raised. The only time I left the Antelope Valley was I lived in San Diego for a couple of years when I was in the Navy. I joined the Navy when my son was born. I was 17 years old when I had a kid. I had got married, and I didn't have no education. I had no kind of job prospects. And I needed to do something to try to support my family, so I joined the military. That only lasted 2 years, and I got kicked out for acting a fool, still being immature in my thinking, immature in my ways, still doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing. Ended up getting kicked out, and came back to Palmdale. And then when I went to prison, that's the only time that I haven't lived in the Antelope Valley. But thank you for tapping in, bro. Yeah, I grew up on East Palmdale. That's the city. Appreciate you. Oh, my little back's starting to tighten up again. I gotta take something for it later, and hopefully I'll be able to sleep okay and get up for work in the morning. I sure did pull the heck out of it today, trying to hit them squats. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, if you're new and you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate that. I'd appreciate if you hit that sub button. I appreciate if you hit a like, ring that notification bell so you get notified. I know it's kind of slow right now. The live really ain't popping, but it will. Stick with me as we grow. Have patience with me. I'm new to all this, trying to figure it out, learning as I go. Hopefully going to bring you guys some stories that are interesting to you, bring some guests on that are interesting to you. I know one of the hangups with my channel really blowing up and growing like I hope it will is the fact that I don't do the prison war stories. I don't do the political talk as far as prison stuff. Just because that's not who I am anymore. Once I became a Christian, I gave all that up. I put all that to the side. I really forfeited my right to speak on a lot of stuff when I became a Christian. You know what I mean? Just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean that I don't know better and I still don't have respect for the homies and what they do. I understand my role. I know my role. I know my place. I know what's off limits to me. Because believe me, I got, in here, there's stuff that I could make videos about and get a gang of views and a gang of subscribers. And I could talk crazy stories about people getting whacked and this and that and gang related stuff and all that. But, that's not who I am anymore. As a man of God, that's not what I'm about. You will hear me on lives or in my videos. I will talk about prison violence sometimes as it relates to me. You mean I'll tell stories that relate directly to me and that where I'm able to show God's hand in it. You know what I mean? Where I could show something um, about God working in my life. I won't just talk random stories of violence just to entertain people. That's not what I'm about, but I will talk about stuff that I was involved in and how it relates to my life, how it relates to my change, how it relates to what God did in my life. But yeah, stay tuned. Help me grow the channel. You know what I mean? We need some positivity. Everything can't be always drama, gossip, um, YouTube beefs, people disrespecting people, all that. It can't just be all that. You know what I mean? There needs to be some positivity in this platform, and I'm trying to bring that along with a lot of other people. There's a lot of people trying to bring some positivity. Dubs is always with the positive. He'll tell some stories about stuff that went on where in the places he was at, but he's always trying. He's not trying to glorify it. He's trying to let people know that this is what goes on there, and you don't want to be there. You know what I mean? So I respect that. I respect that. You're in the high desert now too, on the Victorville side. It's home for you now. Okay, that's what's up, dog. You ain't too far away. You know what I mean? I'll be out there every once in a while. Um, I'm part of Victory Outreach. My home church is Victory Outreach Palmdale, and sometimes we do events with Victory Outreach Victorville. So I'll be out there every once in a while. You know what I mean? Never know if I might run into you out there. No, I'm not from the SGV. My boy, I'm from Antelope Valley, from the AV, Palmdale, Lancaster area. Know a lot of good homies from the SGV though. Did a lot of time with a lot of good homies from out there. Solid cats. I appreciate that, dog. I think your message is more important. Being a shining example of redemption is good for the people getting out. And that's really what my mission is. You know what I mean? Is to let people know that change is possible, to let people know that you ain't got to stay stuck in that lifestyle. What I actually do for a job, my employment, where my career is in reentry. We do where I work at the agency I work for. We help people that are getting out of jail and prison find resources and get acclimated to being back out in society. And part of what we do is share our stories with them, mentor them, let them know that hey, we've been through it. We're out here doing good. We're out here living law as law-abiding citizens, being successful, and you can do it too. And let us show you how. So that's definitely something that I feel is important in my life. You know what I mean? Is being a good testimony and showing people that it can be done. A lot of times people will encourage me to get involved with the youth, right? Oh, you should talk to the youngsters and you should get in this youth program and do this with this youth program. And I'm cool with all that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's cool, it's good. But I think there's so many people already doing that. Where my heart is at is for people that are my age, people that are older, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s that think because they've been in that lifestyle for so long that it's too late to change, which is absolutely not the case. I had been in prison for 20 years already. I was 41 years old when I decided to make a change in my life, when I decided to surrender my life to God and not claim my neighborhood anymore and not be part of the functions no more. As far as inside doing time, I was already 40. I was 41 years old, and I knew a lot of cats, and still to this day know a lot of cats that are older and think, well, I've been gangbanging since I was 14 years old. Oh, I've been using drugs since I was 16 years old. It's too late for me to change. And that's absolutely not true. That's not true at all. God can do something with your life. God can do something in your life, regardless of how old you are or how young you are or what you've been through. There's nothing too terrible. There's no sin too terrible that God cannot save you and rescue you and change your life and use you for his honor and his glory and use you to help other people and do good. It doesn't even matter. People think that, oh, I'm old. Oh, I've done too much stuff. Nah, bro, you know what I mean? The lower to the French fries just blows me away. It's for aren't all that productive. I'm not sure I understand if I'm reading it correctly. The low recidivism rates for lifers blows you away. Okay, I get that. Because the recidivism rate for lifers is very low. Hardly any lifers go back. Very rare. It's proof that life sentences aren't all that productive. That's the part I'm not sure really what you're trying to say. That, to me, this is just me speaking on my personal experience and my opinion. My life sentence, I'm gonna speak on me. I ain't gonna speak on other people's life sentence. My life sentence saved my life. I'm gonna say that. Had I not caught a life sentence and had I not gone to prison for as long as I did for 24 years, I probably would have been dead a long time ago. Or I'd be sitting on death row because I would have gotten into way worse stuff. All the lifers I know that have gotten out are all doing good, but that's because of the fact that we had to learn about ourselves. We had to take self-help. We had to really change in order to show the parole board, yeah, we're ready to get out. And if we had not have life sentences, chances are we wouldn't have done that. I knew dudes that were in and out all the time for years and years and years, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, because they never had to change in order to go home. You know what I mean? So I know for me, if I would have been one of these cats that had caught like a 5-year, 10-year term when I went to prison, I would have just came out thinking I was super vato loco and you know what I mean? Came out with a chip on my shoulder trying to run the neighborhood, and it would have been all bad. I would have ended up right back in prison. Like I said, I probably would have got killed. I'd probably be dead by now, or sitting on death row, or who knows what. But I know that going away for 24 years, God got a hold of me. God had to sit me down somewhere, sit me in a corner, and be like, "Look, you need to calm down for a little bit." And get me in a place where I would open my mind, open my heart, open my ears to what God had to say and change my life. You know what I mean? My best advice for the ones who feel like they're stuck or insecure about dropping the gang life, even though they know it's wrong for them. That's that's a big thing for a lot of people. Because I'll tell you this. I got younger homies from the neighborhood I used to be from. And when I say younger, I mean younger to me. I'm about to be 55. So to me, younger is 30s, 20s. Um, I don't mean the little homies that are teenagers or whatever, but the homies that are younger than me, they reach out to me sometimes. You know what I mean? They'll hit me up on social media asking for prayer. They'll hit me up sometimes talking about wanting to change and how did I do it? And because they know they need to change, but they don't know how. And that pride and that worry about what people will say stops a lot of people from making change in their life. You know what I mean? And it's just something you got to get over. That change came from me when I was 41. 2011 is when I became a Christian. And I was, like I said, I was already 41 years old. So I was already a little bit more mature. I was already well established in prison. I was already on a level 2. I had done my level 4 years, my level 3 years. I had done shoe terms. I had earned my strides, all that stuff that we hear about. I had done all that already. So it wasn't like I was brand new to prison and all of a sudden I'm becoming a Christian because I'm scared that the yard is popping. I lived through all that already. I did 14 years on level 4, and then I did 5 years on level 3, and I went to a level 2, and that's where I started making change in my life. And I did 5 years there, and then I came home. The advice I would give to people that are insecure because they're worried about what the homies are going to say, I can share this bit of experience. When I went to prison, none of my homies took care of me. And I don't say that to try to make them look bad or nothing like that. They, out of sight, out of mind. You got your life to live. But in the gang culture, when we talk about family and love and all that kind of stuff, you might have a couple of solid friends. They happen to be your homeboy from your neighborhood, but they're your friends. When you go to prison, that they ride it out with you and they'll send you money and look out for you. But that's rare. It's not like your whole hood is looking out for you. During the 24 years I was in prison, not one person that was my homeboy from my neighborhood went to check on my mom, make sure she was okay. None of them went and bought milk and diapers for my kid. None of them went and checked on my baby's mom. If anything, they tried to get at my baby's mom. You know what I mean? There wasn't that so-called love and all that we talk about in that lifestyle. But that was just my experience. I'm not saying that everybody's homeboys are like that, or even that all my homeboys were like that. But for the most part, I did my time. My mom is the one that rolled my life sentence out with me. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have a girlfriend. I had pen pals come through here and there, but it was my mom, my family, the one that wrote it out with me. And that's what people got to think of. If you're, worried about what your homies are going to say, if that life is not for you no more. If you got kids now, you got an old lady and you need to change your life, don't worry about what your homies are going to say, because they're not going to put money in your pocket. They're not going to pay your bills, none of that. But it's hard. It's hard for some people. You know what I mean? That was a good question. Thank you. Yeah, no, I feel you, dog. I got where you're coming from. That's a trip, man. Yeah, trip on that, Crown City. They're not allowed to use it over there in China, but they put it out for us to use. What does that tell you? For real, dog. Up until a few years ago, lifers were not getting out. That's why, for the longest, I didn't have hope. For the longest time, I didn't have hope of ever coming home because it just wasn't happening. There was no such thing. I watched my first lifer walk out in 2011. 2011, I had been on the level 2 for 1 year. And I watched my first lifer walk out the gate and go home. And that right there is what sparked me to have hope and to start doing the work that needed to be done to come home. Crown City, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, the LWAP. Yeah, people really don't realize that people with life withouts are coming home too. You know what I mean? They're doing long stretches, most of them done 30 plus, but they're able to come home too. They're able to get their sentence commuted down to like a 25 to life or a 15 to life, and then go to the board and come home. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, you're a veteran from the Marines. Thank you, bro. Appreciate your service. I was in the Navy. I was a corpsman. Hoorah. You know what I mean? I was a corpsman, so I know what's up with the Marines, bro. Thank you for your service. I appreciate you. To go through all those years and see one life for home and just year after year. Yeah, for real, bro. It was crazy. On my all the 14 years on level 4, no lifers went home. None. When I got to the level 3, I hit Ironwood in 2005. And there were some lifers there that were starting to like do classes and go to classes, and they were starting to have hope because they used to follow like legal stuff. They knew laws were changing and all that kind of stuff, and they would be getting ready for board, and we would be laughing at them like, bro, you're wasting your time. You ain't going nowhere. They ain't letting nobody out. This is your life. You know what I mean? Excuse me. And the joke was on us. They ended up going home eventually. Like I said, I made my way to a level 2 and saw a lifer go home, and it was like, okay, here we go. It's on. It's possible for me too. And when that brother walked out, I got on my grind, and all the other lifers that were there on the level 2, we were all like one big family, and everybody was going to classes together, helping each other grow, become better men, regardless of what race you were. we all had one goal. When you have one goal, it doesn't matter what race you are, what faith system you belong to. What the whole thing was, we want to go home. So all that other stuff gets put to the side, and you help each other become better people. You help each other study. You share resources with each other, whatever it takes to put each other in a position to come home. I got some super cool, I call them, they're my brothers that are white, that are black, that are Asian, you know what I mean? Native American. We were all in the struggle together. We were all on the front lines together trying to make it happen, trying to get up out of there. And when we reconnect out here and we go to the lifer picnics or we get together for different little functions, some of them have been funerals. There's been some of the lifers that I was with that have gotten out, that have passed away. And at their funeral, you see all the fellas that we were right there in Chuckawalla with come deep. Blacks, Hispanics, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter the race of the person that passed away. You know what I mean? One of my boys that passed away, Dada, rest in peace, was an African-American Muslim. I am a Hispanic Christian. Didn't matter to me. That man was like a brother to me, and I was there at his funeral, crying, supporting his family, just like a gang of other brothers were too. Because that's how, when you get down to the level 2, especially when you're lifers and you're on a yard full of lifers that are trying to go home, it's different. It's not like being on the level 4 where it's all about war and it's all about hate and it's all about, the things that, that we understand happen in prison. When you finally get been in 20, 30 years and make your way to a level 2 and everybody's trying to go home, all that gets put to the side, man. And we're there trying to help each other. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's real, Jonathan. Goes out the window. Prepare yourself for the mind for the outside. Yeah, that's real. That's real talk. Yeah, dog, it is. It is a beautiful thing. I'm gonna tell you, when I first started realizing that, right, when I got to the level 2 and I started going to self-help groups, and 9 times out of 10, when you're in a self-help group, you sit in a circle and whatever it is, you might be in an anger management group, you might be in a parenting class, you might be in there's just all different kinds of stuff we were learning, right? And when you start hearing people of other races, other people from different gang affiliations sharing stories similar to yours, you start to realize that you're not that different. Oh, I grew up like that too. Oh, my mom was a single mom having to work all the time too. Oh, yeah, I was in the streets doing this too. And you start building bonds based off of your common experiences. All the racial stuff and gang stuff goes out the window at some point when you are mature enough to live like that. Not for everybody. There was a lot of youngsters there on the level 2 that weren't lifers, and they used to trip out and talk crazy and, you know what I mean, still be on their political stuff and on their gang related stuff. And that's what it is. It's prison. But when you're facing the possibility of never going home and you start to have this glimmer of hope and you start to see other people also have hope, and you got to start getting together and realizing, look, you know what? We're just men on the same mission to try to go home. Why are we going to be beefing because you're black and I'm Latino? Why are we going to be beefing because you're white and he's Asian? Man, let's get together and come together and be stronger for this common goal that we have of going home. And that's what it was. Now, I'll say that, but I'll also say that myself and all the other lifers that were programming this way, we still understood where we were. We're in prison. We get it. And there's rules to follow still. And we still respect that. We still follow that. But at the same time, you know what I mean? I'm going to do everything I can to help the next man, regardless of what race he is or whatever. And it was a beautiful thing, bro. It was. Have I seen the Ed Calderon podcast? His latest podcast with a white dude and started basically saying they grew up 1,000 miles apart. No, I'm not familiar with Ed Calderon. I have to check that out. But that's real. You know what I mean? As humans, we have so much in common. If we would just take the time to be willing to get to know other people and see them for their humanity versus seeing them for their skin color or seeing them for their economic status, or seeing them for their religious beliefs, or seeing them for just any variety of things that we make judgments based off of. Instead of just judging people based off their character, instead of judging people based off of our shared experiences, we let all kinds of other, and all that is the devil, bro. That's the enemy. The enemy brought confusion into the world. God is not a God of confusion. God does not create chaos. That's all from the enemy, bro. You know what I mean? Well, it's been an hour, fam. I think I'm going to get ready to wrap it up. My voice is starting to get a little scratchy. I didn't bring no water in here with me, but I do appreciate y'all tapping in. I do appreciate you guys checking in with me. As I said earlier, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Let people know about the channel. Help me spread the word about the channel. Help me build this hope. I mean, let's spread hope. Let's spread some positivity on YouTube. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you see my Instagram right there. Change _man_ the number 4 _life. Please follow me on Instagram. If you feel so led, you see the Cash App right there. By no means am I asking anybody to give anything, but if it's on your heart at any point, tonight or any other time, you want to donate something, it's much appreciated. Basically, though, what I really would ask, subscribe to the channel. Let your people know about the channel. Let's build it up. Let's do something positive. Let me see what we're talking about right here, dog. He had Cornejo on, and his testimony on it was great. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to have to check that out. I'm going to write that down. Ed Calderon. I'm going to check his podcast out and see what he's talking about. Thank you for suggesting it, bro. I appreciate that. With that, family, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you all again for tapping in. I truly appreciate it. God bless you. Have a good night. Jesus loves you, and so do I. I'm out.